to deliver customized strategic plans that meet specific goals and track progress for optional success. Nanci is a graduate of Carleton University and has earned a knowledge translation professional certificate from the University of Toronto, Sick Kids Learning Institute, as well as a knowledge mobilization certificate from the University of Guelph. So we are extremely happy, Nanci, to have you here this morning and talk to us and share some of your expertise to help us grow our businesses, especially in such an interesting times. So Nanci, please take it away.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Josie. And thank you to all of you for coming today. That's great. So my goal for today is kind of to share why it's so important to be strategic. And then also to share some processes that I use to develop my strategies. And you can all see my screen, I'm hoping. Yes, Gabby?
Yes, it's on. It's all good.
Good. Okay. So a little bit about my company. So as Josie mentioned, we collaborate with clients in both the private and public sectors. Along with strategic planning, we do content development, so writing, videos, podcasts, design services, that kind of thing. You'll notice I put our core values down here. We use these core values to explain our approach to our clients, but we also use it as a key component in our own business strategy to see if a client is a good fit for us. We've learned along the way that being able to choose clients with mutual and shared core values really helps us hone our own marketing efforts and work and give our best to the people who are the best to work with. So, as you all know, we're all living in a multi-channel universe with lots of ways for communicating with our customers. So that means there's a lot of ways that they're going to be looking for you and a lot of ways that they can miss you completely. So the trick is finding out where your customers are and also finding out where they're expecting to find you, because they may be in a place for a reason, and that reason may not be because they're looking for products and services from you. So we all know our world is changing and it's become increasingly more challenging to get people's attention. Certainly our work and home habits have changed quite a bit. Many of us are juggling kids, cats, and deadlines all at the same time. Screen fatigue has become a big thing. You know, all of you probably have had more than your fair share of Zoom meetings recently. Seem to go from one to the next to the next. And that can make us less likely to want to use our platform, our laptops and the internet for other things. On the other hand, the pandemic has also made online shopping a big thing. And it's a great convenient way for us to get what we need and stay safe at home. So the question is, what are we shopping for? So do we still need new clothes? We may need new tops, maybe not new bottoms. So, you know, but on the other hand, you see things like garden centers and plant suppliers have never been busier. Everybody's trying to create an oasis at home. So lots of new opportunities. Home gym equipment's another big one. There was an article in the Globe real estate section last week that actually talked about how they used to tell you to put your exercise bike away when you were selling your house, but now they're saying, no, set up this gym because then people can see what it's like to have their own home gym, which I thought was funny because if I turned my screen around, you would see my spin bike in the corner of my office right now. So, but even before the pandemic, there were certainly distractions, too many communication channels, too many angles to cover when trying to reach your customers. So how do we reach people in a way that's positive and speaks directly to their needs? And how do we choose the right methods for getting our message across? Well, we get strategic. And we get strategic with foundational planning that helps you clearly understand what you want to achieve so that you can map out a clear path for getting there. So I use a 5-step process for understanding, planning, creating, and measuring marketing and communications activities. And I refer to activities as tactics. So when you see the word tactics in here, that's what I'm talking about. So each step follows kind of logically. So you lay out first a foundation of knowledge that really guides you to strategically develop your strategy and the ways that you're going to implement it, manage it, and measure it, which is really important. We're going to go through these 5 steps now. So we start with the foundation. So this can be simple or as complex as you want it to be, although I really encourage you to take the time on this step because it really guides everything that you do. And if possible, block off an afternoon in your schedule to really sit down and go through it without interruption. So we talk about goals all the time, but have you really taken the time to write them down and understand them? And a goal might be to increase sales, which is a great goal, but it's really hard to measure. Do you mean 20%, 50%? Do you want to grow sales in a specific area of your business? Maybe there's one area of your business that's doing just fine or is maybe starting to not be as important to you, but there are other areas that are. So be as specific as possible. Other goals that you might be looking to do is change a behavior in a client or grow awareness of a new service. Or maybe you're looking at increasing your referral business because you feel that referrals are where you do best. For me, for example, 95% of my business is referral based. So I spend probably most of my time developing those relationships rather than using traditional marketing methods. So let me talk about stakeholders. So these can be partners such as another company or associates that you work with often. They might be part of a joint marketing strategy, or they might be a way that you go and pitch to a new client together. I work with a partnering printing company, and we work together on strategies on how we're going to maybe break into a new market, or how we might put together a package for a certain target market. There's also champions, and those are people that will refer you or provide testimonials or shout outs for you that you can use on social media. Really important to identify who those champions are, and don't be afraid to ask for their help. These are people that can really, with testimonials or shout out on or sharing things on social media can really make a difference for you. And, if they like what you do and, they love you, then they're going to do it, and they're going to do it willingly, and it's going to come across as really true and transparent. People will really respond to it. So target audiences, it's important to prioritize your target audiences. A lot of time, people will say, well, everybody, which is not really a great answer if you're trying to be strategic, particularly if you're on a budget. Unless in case you have an unlimited budget. I haven't heard of anybody that does yet, but if you do, call me. We'll chat. As you prioritize your audiences, some of the things that we do sometimes is work with what we call a stakeholder or partner pyramid, where we at the bottom have people that are just kind of know about your service, but not really. And at the very top are people who are your champions. They want to work with you all the time. They're the ones that are going to say, you should go work with this person. And what we try to do is put our target audiences on that pyramid. It's like 5 different stages all the way up. And I'm happy to send it. It's not my design. It comes from a company. Happy to share it with anybody that would like to see it. So the idea is to put on the pyramid where your target audiences are right now and where you think they should be. And the bigger the gap, the more you want to think about how you're going to reach that audience. Depending on how important they are to you. So the other part about this, the target audiences, is to understand how they align with your specific goals. So if you're hoping to increase sales of a new service, who's the ideal target audience for that goal? So identifying them will be key, as well as knowing where they are, because things change quickly in our multi-channel universe. I'm sure all of you, well, I don't know all of your ages, but I'm sure all of you remember when Facebook was for kids and now it's parent book. So it's really important to do the homework to find out where those target audiences are. So it's really critical at this point too to understand where your success criteria is when thinking about your goals and your target audience. So I often say to clients, if we were sitting down a year from now, what would have happened for you to say that the year was a success? So be specific, and sometimes it helps to write out a scenario. So you might say something like, I'm sitting down and I realize that, my company has just grown by, 50% in sales. We've added 2 new people, and I've launched a new line of something. Write out a scenario And that will really help you pin down what success means to you. This is going to help us later on because we're going to determine what tools we're going to use to measure that success. There's a lot of different ways that we can measure success, but we want to measure it based on your goals and what your criteria is. And then finally, take a bit of time to find out what's new or changing in your industry. What's becoming super trendy? What's past its prime? Are there new opportunities to add value to what you do? This has certainly become important during the pandemic as people have had to really shift and pivot. But even without a pandemic, it's always important to look in your industry, see what's going on, see what people are saying. A great example back to the gardening. I come from a family of florists, and they tell me that tropical plants have just blossomed again. For years and years, nobody had tropical plants in their house. And now it's all over the place. People are racing to garden centers to get that one particular plant that they're looking for. So cats. I warn, sorry for all the dog lovers, but there'll be some cats in this presentation. This is just a great example of taking a look at how different messages are useful for different types. And we're just using social media here. Of course, there are many other different ways to market, but understanding how your message fits in a particular platform. So LinkedIn, I'm very skilled at training cats, as opposed to Instagram, here's a hipster picture of my cat. These platforms all have different uses and people look to them for different things. So it's really important to sort of understand which cat you're talking to. Speaking of cats, this is Louis the office cat. He was our office cat until last year when he passed away at the age of 20, but much loved by our team. So we thought we'd add him, keeping in with the cat theme. So we call this step the integrated strategy because we want to make sure that your activities really align with and complement each other. So that ensures that your messaging is consistent, but it also means that you can get some efficiencies. So for example, we do quite a bit of video work. And when we do that, we go into the video interview. So let's say, for example, we're interviewing researchers, which we do quite a bit. We may be having a specific goal in mind for the video. Maybe we're talking about a specific research topic, but we tend to over interview. So while we have that researcher there and their time is valuable, we'll ask them about what it's like to work with students. We'll ask them how they became involved in a particular area of research. We'll really fill out the interview so that when we come back, we've got a wealth of information that we can make 3, 4, 5 videos out of, short videos out of. We then take all of that information, all of the video footage, and we transcribe the audio. So now suddenly we have maybe 2, 3, 4 articles that we can write out of that content. Then we can also take a look and say, well, we've got a 2-minute video here talking about this particular research project, but we want to put some teasers on social media. We need them to be less than a minute. So we can now take that 2-minute video and take a cut out of it and make a social media thing out of it. So that's kind of an example of what I mean by being efficient and aligned and integrated. Being able to take one thing and use it in 5, 6 different ways. I'm always looking to do that because nobody's got a budget these days that allows them to not be aligned and efficient that way. And clients really appreciate that I can say, well, we can do this, we can do this, and we can do this. So this is really where your foundation comes into play. So knowing what you know about your goals and your priority target audiences, now you can start to create that strategy that prioritizes certain activities based on the goals, target audiences, your success criteria, and that foundation of knowledge that you have. Sorry, this is the last cat slide. So now that you have your tactics figured out, you can organize them efficiently and effectively. So we use a content calendar to do this. So basically, and you can use any kind of calendar. There are fancy ones out there that you can Google. You can use Google Calendar. You can, create your own handmade one. But basically, it's a way for you to take all of your activities and your content and put it in one place to make sure that they're all consistent with each other and you take advantage of opportunities. So opportunities might be theme days like National Cat Day. If you run a pet food store, then maybe you want to take advantage of that day to put some social media messaging out, or maybe there's a 20% discount on kitten food that day. You know, being able to understand what's coming up, not just theme days, but local events, maybe some conferences that are coming up. We do often with our healthcare clients, if it's a theme month for example, April is Cancer Month. There are lots of different opportunities then for us to go out and talk about what some of our cancer researchers are doing and some of the amazing new work that is being done in that area. The other good thing about a content calendar is that it saves you the step of sitting there on Monday morning and going, oh, what are we going to talk about this week on social media, which happens to everyone, you know, kind of sitting there going, okay, what am I going to say this week that's different? If you've got it in a content calendar and you've already organized, okay, we're going to, based on this theme, we're going to do this, and based on this campaign I'm going to run or the sale I'm going to run, this is what we're going to talk about this month. Then if something new comes up, it's easy to throw that into the calendar as well. You know, and this way you can also, there are a lot of tools that you can use to program your content, and you can align that content calendar with things like Hootsuite or Sprout Social, and I'll talk about those tools a little bit later. It's really important to understand and identify who's going to be managing and monitoring that calendar, because it's great to start one, but if you don't keep it up, it's pointless to start it. It's also going to be really important to keep it up because you'll want to use it to measure your effectiveness later. So whether it's a 3-month calendar, a 6-month calendar, or a year-long calendar, you'll have a full snapshot of how your last 3, 6, or 12 months went to help you plan for your next cycle. So then we get to, sorry. That was me, maybe. So then we get to the tactical analysis. So this is where we start to monitor the success of your campaigns as they roll out. Don't wait till the very end, because you've got great opportunities to tweak things. So you may find one thing is working really, really well, and one thing's not working at all. It's a good opportunity to sort of investigate why, and maybe decide if you want to change how you're investing your energies. Maybe one thing's not working. Maybe you're going to take either your budget or your energies from that and put it towards something that's working really, really well. So taking those milestones and really taking a look at how you're doing is super important. When you're measuring, beware of vanity metrics. And vanity metrics are metrics that make it seem like you're making a big splash when maybe you're not really. A good example would be Facebook taking into account that just because your friend shared something, all of their friends saw it, which is, as we know, not true. Really good to measure instead against your goals. So for example, if you have a website that you want people to go to and download something or purchase something, using the analytics on your website to really take a look and see who is downloading, how many. Those are measurable analytics you can work with. Another thing you can do is do some A/B testing. So one of my clients wanted to understand whether negative messaging or positive messaging would change behavior for clients. And so we ran an A/B test on social media where we ran some negative and some positive and tried to see how people responded to it. So it's another way that you can kind of test the waters a little bit. And you know, if you're looking at being able to tweak things, you can take analytics from, for example, YouTube to look at video analytics. So maybe you have a 2-minute video up there and you look at the analytics and you see that, you know, 90% of the people are dropping off at 45 seconds because no one has an attention span anymore. So can you tweak that video down and see if that maybe improves your results? You know, and sometimes just a campaign just doesn't work. And, you know, in that case, it's better to know sooner rather than later. So you save time, effort, and money. And then finally, the optimization report. This is kind of your end of cycle. And again, you know, depending on your business, that could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. This is a chance to look back and reflect over that period of time to help you plan for the future. So a lot of people do this at the end of their fiscal year when they're working on their next budget and their strategy. So how did you do? Did you achieve any of the success criteria that you noted in your foundation at the beginning? If yes, what are the activities that contributed to your success? And if not, what could you have done differently? So your content calendar and your milestones monitoring will help you review, and it will also provide some important clues for understanding what went well and what didn't, and what might change for the year ahead. So once you've gone through this whole 5 steps, it seems like a lot of work at the beginning, but it's now easy to repeat for the next cycle. Once you've done it once, you really have a good idea of how to go through the process, and you start to make some strategic decisions about your marketing and communications planning. So a couple of tools that I found useful. Some people work with ad agencies or marketing agencies. Other people need to have someone on their team do it. Other people do it off the side of their desk. These are a couple of themes that can, or a couple of tools that can help. So theme content, Charity Village does special awareness days by the day, week, and month. So I mentioned Cancer Month, but you can go in there and they have all kinds of different theme days, weeks, national and international, I believe. Days of the year is more fun. It's not quite so official. National Cat Day is on there somewhere. For social media programming, Hootsuite and Sprout Social are 2 tools that you can use. There are free versions and paid versions. To program your content, some of the versions will also tell you when are good times to schedule your posts, depending on your target audiences. Some of them provide analytics as well to tell you how you're doing. It's a way to kind of organize your channels. You can, if you've got a few channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can put them all in at once and saves you a little bit of time. For email, newsletter management, Constant Contact, MailChimp are 2 programs that people use. They allow you to design a newsletter or an email. They're easy to set up. You can put your lists in there. And then at the same time, you can also get some analytics from them. You can see how many people have read your email or newsletter, but also start to look at click-throughs. So how many people clicked on a link in your newsletter and went to your website or did something. So it's a more professional way of sending out information. Podcasting is becoming more and more popular, but it requires a host who can distribute. So Castos and Buzzsprout are 2 that offer podcasting services. They can help you set up your podcast as well, help you get started, give you tips for developing a podcast, and then help you distribute to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all the different platforms that are available. Kind of takes some of the confusion out of it. Podcasting can be kind of complex. And then easy design for people who are just looking to create some more creative posts or ads. Canva offers an opportunity with some templates. Unsplash has some free images that can be used. And then for people who are a bit more ambitious, Beyond offers really simple animation tools. We've created lots of little how-to animations for different clients. And that's it. So, Gabby, should I turn this back over to you?
Yes, I'm going to just give me a moment here. That was excellent, Nancy. Thank you. Yeah.
Nancy, that was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Efficient integration of media and showing how if you have one video that can equal into snips into your social media, into articles, and onto YouTube. Very creative, different ways of reaching your potential market. So that's a fantastic idea, that a nugget that we can all leave here with today. So I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for your presentation. It was fantastic. Thank you. I hope everybody will have gotten at least one good nugget out of all of that. Just to let everybody know, and especially Maddie, who's loving your cat presentation, video presentation here. I want you to know that this is being recorded. So we're going to email to you all really by tomorrow a copy of this presentation. And Nancy, I wanted to double check and make sure with you, can we have access to your slides that we can send out to people if they wish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also send Nancy's contact information for anybody who has more questions for Nancy afterwards. You're more than welcome to reach out to her. So all of that will be emailed to each and every one of you by tomorrow. So you can, and also, by the way, we're going to post this on our YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go back and listen in again, one person had to leave for an emergency, so we'll let her know that she can also have access to this. But Nanci, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your talents and expertise with us.
I got a chuckle here in one of the comments, and it comes from Ann Max, and she says, "We don't need bras for shopping." Oh, I love it. There's some great comments here. Thank you for all your great comments as well.
And Maddie, I see you want to get the target pyramid as well. I'm happy to send that along if you just want to send me your information.
Yes, that'll be awesome. It was with Josie and I having our own online store now as well, Women on the Move Canada. This is phenomenal information, and we do work with Gail Paquette right now, who's there she is having her hands up, and she's been tremendously helpful to us with our Instagram posts, which we it was something new that we launched, but we know how important social media is, especially with products and services that and ours is into the fashion and home accents. But so thank you, Nanci. We may have to bring you back. I think you have a wealth of information to share, which we all so appreciate as business owners. I do have a few announcements. For those that have not subscribed to our website to receive our e-newsletters, they're full of information, resources for you, and future events and speakers. By all means, please, it's very simple. It takes a few seconds. You just go www.womenmeanbusiness.ca and the subscribe link will come up for you. Also, I'm not sure if everybody knows, we have landed a project since January this year with the Limestone District School Board, helping bringing business and education together for the students, graduating students, and it's been a wonderful program to be involved with them. I think we're involved definitely till June. And so we have arranged speaker series with them, which we open up to our network as well. And the next one is April 27th. And we have with their curriculum, they have various trade sectors, and one of them is transportation. So we're very pleased to have the CEO, female CEO of the Women's Trucking Association